Martin Gore, ma première question sera une question globale sur l'existence d'un groupe comme Depeche Mode en 1985. Aujourd'hui, tous les groupes du top 20 utilisent l'électronique dans leur musique. Alors n'est-ce pas difficile de se trouver une identité lorsqu'on est un groupe typiquement électronique en 1985?
I think the difference between Depeche Mode and most of the bands, especially Duran Duran and Thompson Twins, and a lot of the bands in that ilk, is the fact that we are virtually 100% an electronic band, whereas bands such as the Thompson Twins and Duran Duran and many other bands are basically rock bands that maybe have one synthesizer or something in their lineup, and our whole way of making music is totally different. We make music electronically. Hardly anything is actually hand played. We use a lot of computers, and we have been known to use a guitar here and there when the sound fits, but basically that is all we use. I think, although we sample a lot of sounds, and you do get to a stage where it becomes difficult to think of new ideas, but I don't think it's very difficult to find your own identity, because you find yourself creating a lot of interesting sounds, far more than any conventional band would have, that you can use again. Like there's one sound, for instance, which we call a hank, which is actually it's a guitar string plucked with a coin, and it's like a very interesting sound. We've used that, I think, on say about four different tracks, because we really like the sound, and we find it interesting, and that's in a way gives us an identity, because they're sounds that people relate to us.
Martin Gore, ma première question sera une question globale sur l'existence d'un groupe comme Depeche Mode en 1985. Aujourd'hui, tous les groupes du top 20 utilisent l'électronique dans leur musique. Alors n'est-ce pas difficile de se trouver une identité lorsqu'on est un groupe typiquement électronique en 1985?
I think the difference between Depeche Mode and most of the bands, especially Duran Duran and Thompson Twins and a lot of the bands in that ilk, is the fact that we are virtually 100% an electronic band, whereas bands such as the Thompson Twins and Duran Duran and many other bands are basically rock bands that maybe have one synthesizer or something in their lineup, and our whole way of making music is totally different. We make music electronically. Hardly anything is actually hand played. We use a lot of computers, and we have been known to use a guitar here and there when the sound fits, but basically that is all we use. I think, although we sample a lot of sounds, and you do get to a stage where it becomes difficult to think of new ideas, but I don't think it's very difficult to find your own identity, because you find yourself creating a lot of interesting sounds, far more than any conventional band would have, that you can use again. Like there's one sound, for instance, which we call a hank, which is actually it's a guitar string plucked with a coin, and it's like a very interesting sound. We've used that, I think, on say about four different tracks, because we really like the sound, and we find it interesting, and that's in a way gives us an identity, because they're sounds that people relate to us.
Du Fairlight.
Although there are three keyboard players in the band, we all have got different roles really. Mine and Alan's overlap a bit, because we're the more musical. We handle the musical side more, whereas Andy doesn't really play a musical role in the studio. He's more of like an ideas man. He might come up with a few ideas, but when it actually comes to programming or playing any parts, he would leave it to us. And Alan is more of a keyboard player than I am, and maybe I probably do slightly more programming than Alan does. But sometimes the roles do overlap slightly.
Pour reparler de l'identité des groupes électroniques, vous n'avez jamais utilisé l'ultime cliché électronique qu'était le vocodeur. C'est un parti pris que vous avez eu depuis le départ.
Not really. I think we might have used it once. I think it was used once on Speak and Spell. but not in a conventional sense. It's just usually it sounds funny. You know, most of our music, especially these days, isn't really that funny. And it, you know, whenever you use a vocoder, it just makes people laugh, really.
Cinquième membre de Depeche Mode, votre producteur, le patron de Mute, Daniel Miller.
Daniel isn't very musical at all. You know, although in the past he's made his own records, I think if you asked him if he was a musician, he would say no. He's, you know, he virtually knows nothing about music, really. He's just got a lot of very good ideas, and he knows how to work synthesizers very well. And he really helps us out there because he knows far more than we do about, you know, sort of the equipment.
Danny Miller s'occupe maintenant d'un groupe très intéressant mais assez mystérieux que l'on entend beaucoup sur Radio 21, c'est I Start Counting. Tu pourrais m'en dire plus à leur sujet?
Well, I think they're from London, and I don't know that much.
You don't know them?
I've met them a couple of times, and I like their records. I like the last two singles, but I don't really know that much about them. I know they played a few concerts. I went to see them play live once, and they had a bit of a disaster. You know, most of their keyboards broke down. But apart from that, you know, I think that they're possibly recording an album later on this year. But I don't know any definite plans.
À l'époque de Speak and Spell, le premier album de Depeche Mode, tu avais un look plutôt sage. Maintenant, tu portes du cuir, des chaînes. C'est une ambiance que tu as trouvée à Berlin?
No, not really. I think we were, you know, over the past 4 years, our image has changed drastically. And when we look back and we see like some of the things that we wore earlier, you know, we were slightly embarrassed by it. And you know, it's just something that's happened. The music's changed drastically as well, and the sort of clothes we wear now fit the music more.
Tu collectionnes toujours les disques du label allemand At Attack.
I think I've virtually got all the At Attack catalogue. I haven't got every record, but nearly all of them.
Quel est ton groupe favori sur ce label?
Their Plan.
Tenez votre premier hit aux États-Unis avec People Are People. C'est quelque chose que vous attendiez depuis longtemps?
It's been something that's been gradually building over the last 4 or 5 years, and we never expected it to happen. You know, it's a total surprise to us. When we planned the last tour over there, we expected it to be the same sort of tour as the previous two, you know, quite small halls, you know, sort of quite packed, but not totally full, and, you know, go down quite well. Then we'd come away, and then it would be this, you know, sort of same sort of sales, record sales. But the tour was the first thing that surprised us, because we found we were playing sort of massive places, you know, especially on the West Coast. Some of the places were like, you know, 15,000. Most of them were at least 6,000. And you know, we started to see that things were actually happening over there. And now it's just like every week the news is better, you know, so the album's still going up the charts, the single's still going up the charts. And it's, although it is still a surprise to us, the tour was the main surprise, you know, because it was just totally out of the blue. We thought someone was, you know, joking with us when they said, you know, you're playing in front of 15,000 people tomorrow.
Cela va changer vos projets dans les mois à venir?
No. I think that's a real danger. If you... You know, if we were to go back to America and tour again, then your material starts suffering. You know, we did consider it. It was put to us that, you know, to go back to America now would be really beneficial for us over there. But the trouble is, it's just like it takes too much time, and then you know, you'll find that our next single, my next album, will start suffering because of it. So we're not actually planning to go back over there until spring '86.
Cet été, je pense que vous allez mettre en boîte votre nouvel album. Il sera enregistré au studio Hansa à Berlin?
I don't think so, no. We've just been recording a new single, and we recorded that at a place called Genetic, which is in England. It's a Martin Rushent studio, and that was sort of, you know, in the countryside near Reading. And I think for the next album we'll go somewhere totally different again. Berlin, the Hansa is a really nice studio. It's just that after a while you start getting bored with the place. It's nice to go somewhere different, just to find a new place.
On peut déjà savoir quel sera le titre du prochain single?
I can only tell you a working title at the moment. The working title is It's Called a Heart.
Pourquoi n'avez-vous jamais utilisé un studio évident comme le Kling Klang Studio de Kraftwerk?
We found Hansa by accident, really. We'd always worked in England until that point, and then we met Gareth Jones, our engineer, who'd worked in Hansa a lot, and he just said, this is the best studio I've ever worked in. You should try it. And so then we went over and tried it out, and it was we thought it was really a nice studio, and we used it for a couple of years. Now it's time to look for something else again. So now maybe we would go to somewhere like that, or we look at all sorts of possibilities. Maybe Paris, maybe Denmark. It could be anywhere really.